Hello everyone, welcome back to Changfied YouTube channel, your trusted source for latest subject across South Sudan and beyond. Today is February 15, 2026. In today's program, we have important update. We are going to talk about the 2026 national election and fear of violence in South Sudan. We will talk about government concern about youth, unemployment and crime. And third, we'll talk about a proposal to invest 300 billion of South Sudanese pound in young people. And finally, we will talk about President Salva promise at the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa. Before we move on, please, I would like you to help the channel by subscribing and turn on the notification bell, so whenever we upload a new video, you can be notified. Let's start it with preparing for 2026 election. South Sudan is preparing for general election in December 2026. These elections are expected to be historic because they will come after a long period of transition. The Minister of Peace Building is now working hard to prevent violence. The Undersecretary of the Ministry of Peace Building, Pierre-Philippe Michael, recently spoke in Juba. He warned that election can either bring peace or bring conflict. He explained something very serious. An election is not just about voting. It is also about how people react when they lose. If political parties disagree, if supporters feel cheated, if institutions are weak, conflict can return. So what is the government trying to do? They are creating what they call a dispute resolution system. In simple words, this means a fair way to solve political argument before they become violence. They invited judges, political parties, security forces, and civil society groups. All of them sat together to discuss how to manage disagreement during elections. This is important because South Sudan has a painful story of conflict. The Undersecretary also says something powerful. Teaching people how to vote is not enough. He explained that before voting, the country must focus on reconciliation and dialogue. Why? Because if hearts are still divided, election can reopen wounds. The minister is also working with the African Union for support. They want help to prevent violence before it starts. They are identifying flashpoints, areas that could become dangerous during elections. They are also working to improve the relation between civilian and the army. The goal is to make security forces seen as protector, not as a threat. This is a big challenge. Let me ask you, do you believe South Sudan is ready for peaceful election in 2026? Comment below. Let's move to our second top story. The painful choice, elders or youth job. Now let us move to the national budget discussion. At the 2025 to 2026 budget public hearing, the Undersecretary for Planning at the Minister of Finance, Honorable Benjamin Ayali, spoke very openly. He spoke not only as a government official, but as a father. He said something painful. South Sudan does not have a proper pension system. That means elderly civil servants cannot retire safely. They continue working because there's no financial support waiting for them when they retired. And this creates a serious problem. If older workers stay on the payroll, there are fewer job opportunities for young people. This is a painful choice. Support elder who serve the country or create a space for young graduates. The undersecretary said crime among young men is rising. He mentioned it criminal group like Toronto. He said many young people are not in school, and those who finish school often find no job. He also says something important. We are producing job seekers, not job creators. In other words, young people are trained to look for government job, but the government does not have enough space. There are fewer factories. The private sector is small. NGOs cannot employ everyone. So what happened? Frustration grow. Some youth turn to crime. Some join gangs. Some even join a rebellion group. The undersecretary himself admitted he worries about his own future retirement. He explained that he does not want to work forever, but there is no pension system to protect him. This shows how serious the system problem is. The question is, how can South Sudan build a pension system that respect elders and also create opportunities for youth? Let me know your thought. 300 billion pounds for youth empowerment. Now we move to a strong proposal. Dr. Luala Sheikh, chairman of the SEP Committee for Finance and Economic Planning, made a bold suggestion. He proposed investing 300 billion South Sudanese pound directly to youth productions program. Why? He believed unemployment lead to rebellion. He said clearly, when youth are idle and angry, they can easily be recruited into army group. But if they are working and earning, they will not want war. He wants the budget to focus on full employment. And instead of importing tomatoes from Uganda, he said youth should grow tomatoes locally. And instead of depending only on oil, the country should increase agriculture and production. Some people fear that printing or spending more money causes inflation. But Dr. Ashok argued that investing in production is different. If young people produce good, the economy grows. He also talked about the exchange rate. He said the dollar has become stronger than the South Sudanese pound. People trust the dollar more. Bank limit how much salary people can withdraw. He asked, if people cannot access their own money freely, why would they trust bank? This weakened the financial system. He also raised concern about oil revenue. Oil producing states are supposed to receive certain percentage, but he said some funds are delayed or blocked. He asked why communities are not receiving what they are entitled to. He also called for environmental protection. He spoke about protecting the Nile River and creating an environment protection fund. He explained that international donors have given money for climate project, but citizens and civil society must monitor the money, or they must monitor that money carefully. And finally, he proposed a new system called an irrevocable standing order. This would require the central bank to automatically pay salaries every month. No delay, no excuses. He even suggests that if Parliament delay the budget, government spending should stop, like in the United States. This is a strong statement. What do you think about this 3 billion youth investment plan? Is it realistic or too ambitious? Let's move on. President Salva Kiir Mayardit at the African Union Summit. Now let us look at regional leadership. President Salva Kiir traveled to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia to attend the 39th African Union Summit. At the summit, he promised to restore peace and stability in South Sudan and also in neighboring Sudan. The summit focused on water security and sanitation under Agenda 2063. Water is life. Without clean water, there's no health, there's no agriculture, no development. President Salva Kiir Mayardit reaffirmed commitment to peace. This is important because peace at home and peace in neighboring countries are connected. Conflict in Sudan affects South Sudan. Economic problem cross-border, security challenges cross-border. So, regional cooperation matter. The African Union is encouraging African leaders to work together for development. The question remains, will this promise lead to real change on the ground? As you all know, in South Sudan, many parts of South Sudan are still in a difficult situation right now, where there is ongoing war between the SPLIO and the SSPDF under President Salva Kiir. If this is true, that Kiir committed to bring peace, that will be very nice, because it will lead him to release the first Vice President, Dr. Machar, because without releasing Dr. Machar, there will never be any peace in South Sudan. So the first step is to release Dr. Machar and move on with other things. When we connect all this story together, we see something clear. South Sudan is standing at the turning point. Elections are coming, youth unemployment is rising, elder need dignity in retirement, oil money management is questioned, and peace promises are made at international summit. The future depends on action, no speeches. It depends on a strong institution, transparent budgeting, youth empowerment, national reconciliation, respect for elders, environmental protection, and true commitment to peace. This is not just government responsibility, it is also responsibility for citizens. Anan malaka nem kana diale content baron ling gwasame biya kamal gwasame ka Changfied YouTube channel ban ragatin kon lat korodian atukon keri pon bukon keling keri pon ti kate lorodian ko deran keling ban racha kaler shop kongwan kaler kon chanon gwatmatin bukon keling ler nyam ban raka kwide bala kuin kwari ronkin dango jandango bakal te gari pon mishanon ban rach ka kwide bana nyogo rai gwasame ka ta danan shi kuma South Sudan ci ka rai ka ta danan cha leccha ga jiga jengwani ano kana wo ci tari ki nyon cha da rebre yi ka South Sudan mera dien bana rai ka proposal mi cha gor and go ga jeno de yuru chop ga 300 billion South Sudanese pound de ka lat kamwani ke dengwani ka jek and ler jo bana rai tin bana rai ka kwi President Salva Kiir manchalat ka African Union Summit banjelin ka jari por mene kan kono niam mi jiram jidit gwas me gor jeno jin der channel de support committee mi shibare de shwamala shubikiji wane kari por niam de konlin gwas me kuma South Sudan real karodi ne ka queen kware alaron kindawo jendang bakale kontine queen dan ba queen kwar kani chara yalle ka kirel ko rodi ne ka jen ko nya balat ka pay waro en be ronkin daro jandang rer bakel ngay kon diale en ko kwar ne me mi ci janya long ne me dane ko independent ko ajekter ko kwar mi chamlat ka South Sudan men me cha to no de ko kwar de jalat ke 2013 ano ki de jalat ke 2015 chu ko to ka 2013 ankora mo te grundang de men me cha malo tan ano ke 2018 kuna destin teme lat ke transitional government ko ba ko inquiry ba jalat ne me jen en nyame ngai kondiale the Minister of Peace Building chalado wonene kan let kan lon ko de malder tin ko de rik ko lat ko rin rai wika South Sudan de ga kapchong jala dan lat keneje and the secretary Malet Minister of Peace Building would shall pia Philip ta Michael jarai ke juba ka kan konin tetine jo chalat gwasame jani lar jano en ko inquiry anu bala rai wika South Sudan ajano bala magwa ki balare mishit ko ma cha ko inquiry cha jalat la joja gwano ne netit konen chid daketen chadak la lodien la jeda kanetin kontin donkina dak la lodien la tede kano dong en queen kwar bodang de no ngata lo ay kene just lo ay keri podan chikan lat gwasme chikan kula do ne en queen kwar chi obna vote karwade commissioner vote ko gwa ban missioner vote la tene de blodien bojat so gure jen obade na re aleka boy in case mi jete mi chu to ko mi chine ko nan chi lose la lo jen la jeda dong ba kor ba jeto mi dong de so zander we la vada le tega violent ko dong chi kwer ne to che fail no chala do ne gwazme mi chine de konti la political parties mi chicken market char kan karin lin kam ken ne content could na support because we no can shaka shit it menyodo ne me ewa ko South Sudan ba ko je weekend cause me chana ka je do ba ante natin men yam mugor je no ba ko inquire ba lat la jalat ke fairly chit ko ba den kon dong de South Sudan ke de wo je mo de jawun yam bana focus tin chit ko me chaka po nyaawt ken de ala kon de wi de na ngai ko den ba gui ko ne medan me lat kenu awone ne mi cha security arrangement cha lat den nyam ko ba conflict ba je we ke je mite conflict mu dong de to gwa da lat ko in kwartin ke china chi ko fail so ne mekel but cha election cha lat ko gwa da na kan wi kana ko realika so mi chi kana me a chinere kon te juba tin la peace building wa chi nyur kel kana ko la jasne chi nyur kel ka political parties chi nyur kel ka security forces ka ken ne ko ken chal ka civil society group chi nyur ka do dan de kuin kwa de lat ka jagwa atel kor chi kan nar la no bnawo nyamde no men yam chi ka rai ko mungo na tina daglani lo chi na te kel chi kwar cha den ling we mean that new de no tel kuin kwar me de lat ko inquiry am dong tele ne timo chiro de ya leka la to kono bikan mukana leka go special ne ko la kwar no mugo iran benefit mu e kaje we mean that tele mal mede benen wenmo ne me one factor mi yer we South Sudan teme ko sharna anu ne randa babat mu we karu ne che pass and then ba korbe je to kana tin konti chiran in pass which is very dangerous and me ke mijia chi minister kala do ne let kan kel African Union ko de ga support ko dobra de kuin kwa de lat kije ngai kon diale ano kuin kwa but work unless cha security arrangement cha jeri ale kare wika South Sudan and security arrangement muka na ko ale ka tele gwan mum ba kuin kwa ba lat kije so na me very important me de kon diale leng muko gana discuss kan kwa kon te juba no bi mal ben mala be gwa da na cha te dial cha ale kije mal che dem ben ki election che dem to gwan mo te ka kwa te rete jen te chalun German anti document charkan jikware kakan ne la peace signatory karo na the no 2018 peace agreement kana jiag me kana jiag ngum yen ka document charo so ne me ekel mi bejbej mi yer which South Sudan bana we tena wala charo kamradian gwasme another story mandana chano gwasme gwasme watch na te me kare wonno ba support ne de kontin la dit ke ba support ngani ko de mo kelet atiga mungai kore ka South Sudan ka jo mashallah labet je misha kamrar ka kin dangrawi jandangru de dech we karon kin dangrawi jandangru bakal bet je misha kamrar lo baling an ideal and the secretary for planning at the Minister of Finance ne kon in European Indian honorable Benjamin Ayali ko yongwa charach ajoj gwa te right ne joje ne chiga right kan de contin la government officials chikan mana le ro chiga Newton no and one ne jena wara jelonge jenu aramete ka god ki father ko ngai mi jen ko la chere ka god ko no ngombe kan jek tam da na chere tight ki chen ramdit mabo nyur shende ngombe jek no na me kenyam shiga nyur ti kan ngaje no beje mat ala so Sudan tele pension system chare leke pensioner ala jira madanan ciya diet ki ci dit Changa dana si dong la jawo kere kumaka bi police ni bi je leave ko bi yang man bi gala break bi chu yu dor bad bete ka yu ba kam man shal pension ke dong de cholo guk and so am pension mo loga die ni mi si die tere retire bo yu dor ba yo mo ke yo akume na mo teten but te joje ni wona na tele mi shal pension ka so dan tele pension system ma jam ne dit Allah ne di dini kan ke diene tin kon re kuma ka jaga ko dier kan eno mo wona wo ben pin abaka nyu dor ko ngum ne wo cham ko kon to chaga me chaga jangich ano ka jano don ko na pressure no leve ga pale government job we are seeing kun ko yena don ke yena edit kan ne tel mishal pension system charal ka kuida tel yudu bene go cham mo ne wo shene ko so dit dalkan dol ken lonko de kan lat kuma de kan apal de ko nyur shen ken ko shika don ka de kan yang men de kan ka jako de ko were kuma ka an do bo mo man jakko chicken bijien wa yutel yu yar yaleka tele pension yu la kam garam dana sha diet mi dit ka che gwalare che to cha don ajen bi chu nyu dore la ba fa jegan yu ko ne cha kam kuma wana me jen me jak dit ko chicken bijien ka ku kan all day ja ku kan ko occupied atele new job lele brar mi de la kamere konte la ngene so mu chit kana me jak ngene ko bikate ala unemployed tele de kan ka jek ko kan polsin kon de ko le de kan chawo ko pai yo ne kon la dit ka dier ko wo mo wa jere kuma ka telam bia ba cham cheng tongmi telam gar ka jo cham. So for that reason they are remaining in government position content de ko la kana ngane ena me karwa de beje munyono di kan civil servant ke lare ko le ka kume she can be retired, she can be ben pin buga tere kuma ka kuyu ka ko tele financial support bi kan je gwada na chika retired ten. So question on for how long we return on so munyono brand ba liwo kan ba liwo we kwa ba gwada ba ko la mu garara den mo ne me che to ko winten koken mana gore kai ne mi anga je no te we take dit ko nen chile already and run brand be je la to gerana la to ko bedong. So dong du chip de liwi kwam ke chip de liwi policy ndan titin la jamo ye ke pension bu nyu shendo ko shi ku mi shela dike ba tele je ka South Sudan. So mun yu den wona ne mi di mi te ka payroll lo ngora mo ye ke yo we mean that kala de kon bu brar bu ka let tot but in a few job opportunities can be tin ka ku manitin tiene. So mun yu don tam to South Sudan take a choice ajeno be kana mega nodi ba gat king mane ba ka mo kelet binele didbu ga barar ke bungane bika jian bukana lana duer ken kon let ken ka jan den yenen tema kan ngane dial chikala gwar ko te la tinki to bok master ke degree mi to jema to lan mu gwa mu jeke and then man be choice dene don bu jin chwa de ke bo police ka chala cha yar gwadmo ko chala dial shaka o pai de netin kontila elder. So mu chikene me beja anyogre wika South Sudan a changde randa la da yo gorken wani ala factories ke goto kon jigalatin dak ka de chiene shit ka private sector let kon chit ke NGOs den kon bere wike goto kon chale be na bugo letin te le de jiga kanetin kontin paitok ala young men and anyog NGOs wa chikene ne dia chikene de mo kelet. So anyog kana dia kon bere are which pela gwamnati de rande job der la der jako chak je ko la lar ke no ngwane biken job creation to la to gwada na take yo to jeka miti ka yo to when mo den bi job bi jalat batele tam de ran la der je to ko je tele ji dor me de ko to ga. So mi chire me right now ko mo jaten dit tele ka pension so they will remain in government position ka do chi ka don be ngut ka payroll wa mo ka let wa mo ka yo ka jano ne tingane bi kula struggle tele do mo jekana wa gor kum so dan dere nyurtan yokko da te pension. So they ran the each are retired mi chirun ko chika tede chika tok bu nyur shendo bi la de video enjoyten amene chang le dana bi jen ka jawi mon ko dong bi jen re lat. So na me beje na me one thing mi chala no goro jeno not deal to a choice mi ka ngene ba mo ka le de ki bi remain jobless ke dien bu we chonga bu ko lu dor ke na tele yo to kam ga ko tele pension wana me choice mi be long right now. So da ja la ja report nyam amadian gwaza me ka jomo chalat wa take a 300 billion pound to gorgano de ngane de ka kam ngane de wika South Sudan. Wun Mushala Dr. Luala Shuk, agent chairman of subcommittee ka finance and economic planning, can decision ke suggestion chicken ala. Chere me we can in general de alaka. Chicken proposal chicken lat ke chika propose ke chicken wala no 300 billion South Sudanese pound de ka direct ka use production program. Alo de lanalan ngane kake. De ko ndeng ngande ka nang niam. Kene nene akaneta me mutele ngane tele galet ke jamo jena ku rebellion ku je tugra wika South Sudan ta kur kon lat korodian akaneta gorore ko ngane tele lan me jekana tan kum South Sudan kan budget kan direct ku ngane ko de ka mikelet nona ajen jemnen yana tama langwad la chwa jendul gorka ba choto no ba we adik be kuma yan maiki bo kunyan kontila rebel so na mo be korbe lele be no mi jago ngwane mitega nyura ba tele ka choice de no bikan rebellion bikan join kan kula do nene dumugo contract bit billion South Sudanese pound ku kon ga direct ka use project ke use program ajana de rebellion de ko ka de crime chingwan chicken de lo ka gang members chicken de la tinchal ka Toronto de na la match ajana de violent de road decrease for that reason kana 300 billion South Sudanese pound de direct ka use project chajo mo chaja la dekan ngay kon diale ngwane tele kala rewi ka South Sudan runen to ngwan charen jako kaniden kono don kuil kana ngok mai kana ki biro jaka dit ko jen gwad dan don bi med bi jekten ko ngay kon de sam tam mititin don bi nyin nan ko ken bu ko kwal buna bu ko mai ko ti ko mai, so they are using that opportunity ko bune ko ken bi kan kanang rerika jen mo kwala da wone ne de kuma South Sudan da bet jere medare da ra kan wan ki ka use chari por mo chajala de ken one final report. President Salva Kiir mayadit Genchat Jolat African Union Summit. Gwin ka jodana chalat gwasame ke report dan shanung. President Salva Kiir mayadit wajen jarai ke kwimal ka rewi ka South Sudan ken rewi ka Sudan. President Salva Kiir mayadit chewe ka Addis Ababa ke Ethiopia che 39 African Union Summit ki dol jandang dogud bangwandien jajo gorno bo raitin ki bo wotin. Andol dana cha dul gwas mo chinaro jalon katungwan roi na ka kwipini agenda dung 2063 alaron kin dangro jen bakalo jok jen agenda dana roi na tin ko wapiu akala tigonere wika South Sudan metal clean water ke tele beauty gwe wade na de ka shoot tele health ke pol point network ke tele agriculture media la chike pie dene jen ke pie me dan shamga kanyo tele development bo ko di ala ke piu ajen kwala do ne gor jen bna ba plan bajalat kerwon kine dangraw wudi jen bakalo de diok ke kwipine no ngum balat ke jen kor gwatmo kelio erre summit kana mo kire dul kana mo ci president Salva Kiir yadi charwaj jani charo da committee no ba mal be jidon rewi ka South Sudan charo jalong charo ka kwi Sudan no be conflict dan to kam Sudan be jaga jagwa kon conflict South Sudan conflict Sudan again yer South Sudan so na me chala da ken within that summit cha president Salva Kiir yadi charge pressure and odara mal dara jalat ke Dr. Muchar dara mal dara jinung ko mitala mal kam da ken Dr. Muchar tele mishal ke mal rewi ka South Sudan. So first thing number kim ya di lat ka joran chalat odere da kuma chadere je dilun kan ji kware ti gen then amene di ala ko ken then akulu wo wonyam kamala dana gorken ode lat prince Salva Kiir ya dit jomi wa chala dan gwatamo ka African Union chaladu ne ala kirdio je buga ra kemen chal ke C5 group bona mo buga ra ke kwimal kare ka South Sudan nuge kano bikano onyo ko muglat kano kib kano chumono ba dakam char ba jelun ko bi mal ba kul ben rewi ka South Sudan na me amila rode president Salva Kiir chairman ngai kona mi chora din winimi la raja kwimal ka la raja kwimat ka rewi ka South Sudan and we jeni choro do commit but and peace agreement chebute ka paper karwada ba jela physical lo ludije ko mishiran chora jan tema ka regional summit la raja lotie mineni neje ngak and then country do the best country walne ku chukan chala de wonene la peace should not based on the paper okay wa gore action mikir mi ram goro be malbe ben gore jeno den be take action balat be deal be menana gorke de men gorge de la rewi ka South Sudan be dilat men gorke citizen be dilat chentama and demand en gorke ne dialo be malbe ben keje ere machar a gorke no jen baje di release chit kamen chikona linkane de konti la bon SPLIO and o chicken bit kamen chalti man peace initiative unless ya dagma charge kon ni rete gen ngai kon di ala no mo e demand mitin but Kiir gwasa me busy kedin kona lede ko chaje chol gwasa mi ko changa je no chikuma SPLIO chicken nyoko me kaikan re ko me ko ni medan bine di ala no ge no SPLIO che fail chicken wo wonyam but I now chiting che nyoko meten karude no nyok gen menen yenan tema re which ka South Sudan witenial ajen mi ci Africa Union kan yugo jino ne the only option da na ke Kiir no be mal ben ke je jen be da ma char be je konluñ bina kula we katin ko kena kona balat me kan da kam char kan je konluñ tel gwam be mal be ben ke je so mal la be gwad da na ci kwarche roda commit ano be mal ma be jeno ci men chala do choro commit ka je African Union semi de mo go je jeno dong be je la let ke be jarom tega mu chala da long gwad me moral mutitin la economic la jega especially conflict la ter mutitin la wi la jega kel ci ngai ko na South Sudan economic de jeg wan dial kwak dial ci pegden ci won yal tele mu tukko de tepin right now right kono mu nyodo di mu gor kiro be wujbe te mal la tok metene vola raje ka ko dor ko je ko je kam SSP dia bano chwa SPLIO control sa chwa ka attack peace anya on kwaje implement 2018 peace agreement da na cha tanya ken anya ko mu kwaje honor alat ke jalan nyok bache ben an mal gwami mako Kiir ko le we ka pin nyinga ke kuma SPLIO sia gorte mal me de ben ka jano shoot kuma SPLIO ne siang mal alat ke jam so ramam nyam melet michro da lut e Kiir jaram nan si goro de mal derben ne dia ka South Sudan ke lu shoot kan kamal chala da ne tin kontilla United Nation pela kur mu non mal mishi guje no bene to bi ka bat kirmana nan nakim yadi naga ka civilian ka jongle state ka penal ka unity state kane dialati chala no tella mal mu dem ben ni le dije alokuna le intimidate kugala pressure ke naga ka guje no bi garudin samit ke wacha to ga na mona ne do cha jan noka amana dong amani milat ke me queen kwar che dem to ko anga mbo vote anga mbo kwan gwada dan shine gu chika joj ka kwer no kwer mo nong ne dial shi kwer no mo kwer mo de nga daga mu chan me were ki juba wacha do commit ano ba mal be jenu ka pressure me be ka international community joge no mu no mal bere wi ki juba shewe dino ci kim yadi kana me dan e cha agree kana je honor kana je lot so jen menen ko na tam to kore ring ni tilat korodian as long as ngor Kiir lo ka mal tel so dan mu bete ka mal ba no Kiir ro de komide la to Kiir me chala de chola tong mi lo dere ko so Sudan ka jen gwasme bo man dana bo lat a jen bi so Sudan bi kano kami she jen South Sudan bu ngone jen were kore tungwan a report me jen ana gode nyaa kon kel mi jiram yedit ka shang fa YouTube channel goro jen bi subscribe ka bi notification bi albi jetwan an bi atakama bye bye